I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Jay tells me that there's a new program that we're running on right now, so when you introduce yourself, please speak loud and clear,
Correct.
and we'll see how that works.
Yes, for the meeting minutes, so.
So I'm Dave Birch, Chair.
Mike Cobb, Augusta, serving pleasure of the county.
Christian Larrett, Lewis and Clark County Noxious Weed Coordinator.
Jade Wills, Lewis and Clark County.
Alex Lopez, Lewis and Clark County.
Stacy Barch, Board Member.
Tom Rolfe, County Commission.
Judith and Vincent, Vice Chair.
Monty Miles, Board Member.
Jessica Vegas, Special District Coordinator.
Okay, go ahead and do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America,
and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No visitors, so we're good with that one. And then past meeting outlines in the packet, also online. No public comment. Get into action items, the Japanese U. Petitions.
Yes, in your board packet, we have the Japanese U noxious weed list priority change request that I put together. For submittal, just sort of took all the information Monty put together, also did a little bit of research, additional research on it. Just to let everybody know, I did list it as a priority 3 noxious weed. It's not just due to the fact that we're just trying to more or less regulate the plant being in it than it is being a noxious weed.
So the priority 3, we kind of explained it in an email a little bit, but that priority 3, if it gets designated as a priority 3, then it'll be, it's not really a noxious weed, but it is a prohibited weed, which means that nurseries, people, anybody cannot sell that plant in Montana. Cannot either dig it up and replant it someplace, or they cannot, it doesn't mean that they have to kill it or control it, but it's just that you cannot plant it and cultivate it and grow it anymore. So that would be at least a good start for it. I think if they, county weed district, if it gets on as priority 3, then they can look at it. If they're having issues with it in their county, then they can put it on their own county weed list and go after control if they need to, so. Which would help out the landowners if they want to do trust fund grants or something like that nature anyway.
Question, Mike, so like leafy spurge or spotted knotweed, would they be, I know they're a noxious weed, a priority, but would they fall under that too, priority 3, or there's no need for it, or?
No, because since they're listed as a noxious weed, you cannot do any of that anyway, regardless. And it has to be controlled.
And the 1B.
1B, I think.
Yeah.
I think I'd know that because I put that thing together. Been a while.
Years ago.
So yeah, it's, once they're designated a noxious weed, a state listed noxious weed, then every county has to abide by that. And every agency, and then they're just automatically set for control.
I believe that the 2 that are on priority 3 right now are cheatgrass and Russian olive. Yeah. Otherwise, all the other 36 plus or whatever are in those 1A, 1B, 2A, or 2B. And they can also, just for reference, they can also move those around move them up or down depending on where they're at or how they're, yeah. How concentration, how well, so anyways.
And then I forget the time lag, like if this goes through, is it next month it'll get out and
They'll
stuff?
have to go through rulemaking process. So that will take a while for them to do that. But what'll happen is if we send this in, if we send it in. So a committee will be put together to look at it, to review them. And then if that committee recommends that it be added as a priority 3. Or whatever they recommend it as, they may change it too, but they can recommend it as what we request them to do. Then that committee will request that a rules hearing be put together, and the Department of Ag attorney will have to set that rule-making process in place. And it usually takes a month or 2 for that.
After we go through all of this process, will we consider it, putting it on the Louisville County noxious weed list?
That's something that the board will have to decide. Once-
So that would be us that
Yeah.
would decide that.
Yeah.
And would the Department of Agriculture have input? They'd have input on
They
that?
could,
They could.
yeah. And then we'll have to, I don't know exactly how that process is here, can't remember. But then the commissioners would have to approve it as well. And then go that route. But if we recommend something, it always has to go through.
No commissioner, right?
So,
Yeah, and they do have just, I've been learning a lot by going, because they invited me to their first little meeting of like how they wanted to proceed, because next Wednesday on the 14th. They're having their meeting on this, and I was invited to be a part of it too, and so.
how many other petitions have they got, or did you say?
I don't know if they had too many petitions, it was more or less. How to restructure the noxious weeds is more or less what I learned. And how they wanna. Like prioritize aquatic weeds versus terrestrial weeds, sort of more or less that than there was, but there's always a list of all the petition weeds or plants. That they have that they also go through, just sort of look, there's also a list from counties everywhere. For
I'm
them
not
to
sure.
review those just every, I don't know if it's every other year or 2 that they review this or.
Yeah, I don't know how Jasmine's running that now, and. When we used to get a petition, then that committee would meet to look at it. But that committee would take that petition and. Delve it out to each member to look at certain portions of it. And then come back and say, yes, I saw this is, look at the information that we send in. They'll take a look at it. They'll do their own research on it, and then they'll make a decision about it, so. And they may ask for either, well, I already kind of did ask for Christian to come, or the board may be able to go too, just to look at and see what the process is. So. But going through the petition, I thought it looked fine. You guys did a good work on that, putting everything together so we can, I think it's a strong case for it. To me, it would make sense, but, and I would think Fish, Wildlife and Parks would be all over this too, but you never know, so.
Yeah, the only thing we couldn't do is, the form wouldn't put the month in, so I'll make sure to write that in and
That's right.
scan it into them, so.
Okay. And then you have a signature page, right?
Oh, they didn't have it, this was all the form,
Okay, no, that's fine. They're not requiring it, that's fine. So
This was everything that came in that.
I guess what I would do is entertain a motion to accept the request as accept the request so we can get it in the petition into Department of Ag. ASAP.
So moved.
Second it.
Both moved and seconded to accept this request for the petition. There any questions, comments? Anybody online? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? You said aye? You
For me.
opposed or you?
No.
Oh, Pete.
It was Pete, it was Pete, it was just a little behind.
Thought you were ventriloquist.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's been passed. We'll go ahead and have you send that in, Christian.
Okay.
Thanks for doing that.
You're welcome.
Fund 297.
I believe last year we donated some funds to the Montana Biocontrol Coordination Project. And we, for project partnership. And we were just seeing if you guys would be interested in donating some funds to them as well. This has been a really big help for us in the state of Montana with moving biocontrol agents throughout the state, helping get that's the hardest thing, is getting the new ones approved and working with MSU Extension to get it. That's sort of like how we're able to start getting some of these white top mites that are getting them moved around. So, anyways, we just sort of brought this forward to see what you guys would like to,
Pretty sure we did 500 last year, didn't we?
I believe so.
I thought Melissa, when she came and talked to us a couple months ago, I thought that was good. Glad to see her finally getting some help. That's pretty hard to do by yourself. So if that helps, I mean, I'm all for it, so. I would entertain a motion then from the board.
Is 500 gonna be enough to be able to keep that project going?
I don't know how much she's getting from other people, but I mean, that's totally up to us to do whatever we would like to do. You can increase it too if you want. I mean, I'm fine. I think 500 probably helps her out. But I think a little bit more would be better too, but
Is there any specific project or anything that we can direct money to, or is it just to our
I don't
budget in general?
I think we can direct it. I think she just puts it in her coffers and uses it as she needs it.
Question, if I read this last paragraph on the page, right? They have over $10,000 in contributions, but their goal is $20,000, so. I didn't know if they're struggling for funds or if they're. Sounds like a good program they're doing, I just don't know where we're at with
Right.
our funds. 500 sounds good, but if we can have more to spend, then go for it.
Right. Well, and then once we
I think
get-
our funding is
Once we get those.
pretty solid right now.
Or extra.
Yeah, it's at 6.
Just look on here, stuff that has not been allocated for. We do have quite a bit of funds in there, but we do have some funds that are allocated to be spent out. We just haven't spent them yet. Currently, you guys have $14,064.35. That is not allocated to anything, and we still have not received our 7,500 for our special county grants yet. They should be coming, they usually come in April,
Yeah,
but we just haven't received those yet, and then we do get the $1,785.72 from NDT that has not Has not been-
come in either.
has not hit the account. So when those hit the account, you guys will have a balance of $23,350.07.
I think 1,000 would be appropriate. 500 would go a long ways these days.
Yeah, not these days, for sure. Any other questions? Go
What did
ahead.
you say?
I think 1,000 would be appropriate, you know. 500 is not a lot of money. in Today's day.
You want to amend your motion or put a dollar figure on?
I'll make the motion that we fund her to $1,000.
My second. that.
So it's moved and seconded to donate $1,000 to the biocontrol program. Any more questions or comments? Anybody on the phone or on Zoom? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. All opposed? Motion passes.
You guys, what fund would you like to take? Do you want to take it out of the MDT fund or the special county grant fund? Or you got the two?
I just do that special county grants.
Okay.
That way MDT knows that we're spending money in Lewis and Clark County for MDT.
Sounds good.
Okay. Move on to staff reports, Mike.
Me?
Yep.
All right. It is dry. I thought it was dry coming. Farther I got past Wolf Creek going to Helena, but, how dry is it that we started our pivot, which in May? Not worrying about the snow, and we're junior water rights, and our neighbor called up and said he didn't have any water in the creek, and I was amazed. We usually get shut down in July, so. That was, so, and I told Christian, heading to Great Falls yesterday, I saw a spray truck going up our county road, and so trying to say I better get on board. But, I had a question on, open site, just so I can tell that herbicide, you've had good luck with that versus Milestone and 2,4-D. Anybody use open site herbicide?
Mr. Chair, Mike, we essentially sort of mix. We use the same herbicides that are in open site, we just mix them separately. Open site or chaparral have aminopyrrolid, which is Milestone, and then escort, which is metsulfuron. And we've had really good luck on knapweed, hound's tongue with that. Just make sure that you're reading and following the label with Milestone and stuff underneath trees. But yeah, we've had really good luck in our right of way and in our pasture area. There might be a grazing restriction too with the Milestone
Yeah.
in that too, so make sure you're looking that over. But yeah, we have pretty good luck with that. And then with the escort or the metsulfuron, we use that. That helps with our mustard control. So if we're dealing with Oriolism and white tongue, we deal with a lot of that in our right of way. So that's why we sort of use that too. But it does help on knapweed and hound's tongue for up in your country.
Good.
But that open site is not an effective herbicide on like spurge, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, education, I'm glad I came to the board and learned about Japanese yew because my wife got a phone call from somebody that was looking into purchasing yew because she heard how well it grew, and I said, Sarah, it's pretty poisonous, and they would tell her for the animals, so.
That's good.
Education, it gets out there,
Yeah.
and we spread it, and appreciate funding the biocontrol. And my question on that, I was thinking driving here, if you get a group, an area, so I was thinking in the Augusta area, if I got a bunch of neighbors all signed up and said, we want biologics, then would they come and spread it, or would it be up to the individual owners to come and get it and then spread it? And I was thinking you'd make bigger impact if you get a group of people that are trying it out, because we all know where our weeds are at, but the more people can get involved, maybe the insects will spread too.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea, Mike. I think, here in June is toad flax. That's already gonna be upon us. We'll be doing that around the next board meeting. Going out and collecting those, but if you were able to get a list of individuals that would be interested, that would be nice, cause then that way we could either bring them up to you afterwards, so that way, or meet up, and that way we could get all the appropriate materials to you, cause we like to try to get maps on where they were put, so that way we had to
Yeah.
go out and do some monitoring. Thank you, Alex. And where it is eluding me.
And here it is, May, is there a deadline for knapweed or leafy spurge that? for people
Leafy
to sign up?
spurge is more in the July-ish timeframe, and then, so you have plenty, we have some time for that still, and then August is the hot August. The hot August nights are what those spotted knapweed weevils really like, so, that's when we go out and collect those, so. Our list is sort of growing. Go ahead.
If I may, I have some information like on specifics that the weevil's looking for, like site-wise for spotted knapweed. A lot of the time, it's really dependent on what the site looks like for those to actually take. So if you did come forward with this property, I could like look into like a soil map to see if that would be a good fit for the area. So if it's like rocky or things like that, the females can't really excavate the dirt to reach that root crown. We also don't want a lot of vegetation cover other than spotted knapweed, like you don't want a lot of bunch grasses, you don't want a lot of other wildflowers or things. We're looking for like dry, coarse soils for them to do well in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I think I've mentioned this before, and I just need to either be refocused again. What happens if, okay, so you spray the county road, the district does, and if the private property owner says, hey, I have this knapweed going out on the other side of the fence, can you spray it and charge me for it, or is there a liability there? You get into a fight, I forget what.
Yeah, no, we don't spray private property. We do have rentals that we can, I can bring a community sprayer. We can bring a community sprayer up there. We had one up there for years. It wasn't used a whole lot. But we can always bring one up there for a couple weeks and let you guys sort of use that at no cost, just making sure we get it back. We've been looking at possibly, I've been talking to Jackie to possibly, if there is a want for that, especially we don't need you guys driving all the way down here to rent and drive all the way back. To put it at the landfill or the transfer station out there. But you'd only be able to access it on the days that that the gate is open, but at least that way we could have a sign up sheet there. To work with that, so that way we can sort of see who's taking it for how many days or whatever. I'm sort of we're a little low on rental sprayers right now, as I'm sort of been refurbishing them and taking apart the old ones and putting together the new ones, so. But as needed, we can drag one up there for you guys and use that however you need, so, that, or we do have a list of contractors on our website too, for anybody to reach out to. And they're from all over, we have them from all over the place, so.
All right. Then the last question, in last meeting, I think you said you had 5 spray trucks, but we were talking about employees and all that. So at the height of or during the regular spray week, are all 5 trucks being used, or short staff or short employees?
No, we're not short staffed. We did hire 6 instead of 8. So we'll be running 3 trucks instead of 4 trucks, but Alex and I will also be out helping do stuff as needed and projects as needed to make sure that our seasonal employees are able to get out and do the job like we always have had them do. So, yeah, we have plenty of equipment and good equipment and
You have enough people, so they're all being used during the workday then,
Mm-hmm.
okay. All right. All right, that's it for my report.
Okay, let's go back to the agenda and I'll do it right this time. So let's do staff reports.
All right. I thought
Go
I-
ahead, Christian.
All right.
it's been a busy fun month so far. We were able to get through hiring our staff. We had to hire 2 seasonal employees. We were lucky enough to get 2 applicants. One was a returner from a previous year, so that was nice. And then we had another nice college student that applied, and he starts on Monday, I believe. So yeah, that went really well. I'm real excited. We're gonna have another good crew. So 5 out of the 6 will have worked 3 or more seasons for me. So we only have 1 new person to come on and learn this year. So we're doing good. Been working on getting spray contracts. The Helena Regional Airport's been reaching out to us to do some spraying for them, which is nice. Alex and I were actually out there yesterday doing crack spraying on their track for them. Possibly see we'll see if we see a noxious weed contract coming through in the future. So, he's been working on that. MDT got great, still working on this current fiscal year's contracts for Butte and Great Falls. Great Falls submitted fiscal year 26 contract already, waiting for Buttes to come through. I talked to Eric, he's just working his way through that. Fish, Wildlife and Parks, we got their contract to do all the fishing accesses. We also have another one through Fish, Wildlife and Parks, but it's the Montana Wild Facility. They sort of their own little entity, so we're working with them to mitigate their noxious weeds down there for them. And then our Forest Service agreements for Beaver Creek and Middleman routes that we'll be working on this year as well. So we do have some that are still sort of sitting out there. Haven't heard anything from the Department of Defense on the missile silos yet. I might reach out to him just to see what he's got going on. Those are good contracts for us. It's pretty easy work to go out there and take care of those. I think that's the only one that we sort of have right now. Got the shop up ready to rock and roll. Seasonals are already out spraying MDT highways yesterday and today. There wasn't much spraying on Monday for the first day, typical first day of spray season. Show up to work and it's pouring rain, but we needed the moisture, so I was happy to have it. We got some hydro seeding projects coming up, working with Jackie at the landfill we're waiting for her to put some soil down on the berm that they built while they dug the hole, because as we planted some of our seed mix, the seeds germinating and doing just fine. I think the soils out there are pretty horrendous, so that I don't think there's much there for those poor seeds to grow up. And so hopefully they can get some of their their compost. They have big old composting piles out there, so hopefully they can get some of those and spread that out, and we can get some seeds down on there. Other than that, we got our radio ads, some of that stuff worked out more scheduling on how we want to do that and spread that $6,000 out for the year. We still got to work with Whitney from Montana Radio on the ads, so sort of try to put together an ad and try to get that out to you guys on sort of what we're looking at sending out for information. Might as well send that out for your guys' just thoughts and considerations on sort of what we come up with. And our truck has arrived. we're just waiting to go through the final steps, so we should hopefully have it we should have it by next week at some point in time, so. Checks are cut on Friday and we should have it on Monday, so.
Good.
That's all I have to report. Sure.
Driving down, I got to think about railroads. Who monitors their weeds? Do
The
they
railroad.
take care of them themselves or?
The railroad monitors their weeds. I would say not very, very well. But in the past, they've had a contractor that's come through here. They have so much that they sort of, it's like they do regions every year. So you might get once every 3 years or once every other year, you might get them to come through to mitigate those, because those contractors take on all the railroad right of ways, that's sort of what they're bidding on, so that's sort of what they do, and there's thousands and thousands of miles, so they sort of try to work their way through there, so I usually reach out to them every year and they let me know when they're in and around the area when they're doing weed management in the railroad property and right of ways.
Who's contracting? You know,
I can't remember his name. I do have his business card in there. If they still hold it's like for or something like that.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
Okay, Alex, you have anything?
No staff reports for me. I'm just out doing inspections for new management plans that came over in the fall. There's a few new subdivisions planned and things like that, one in the North Valley. But I'll be done maybe 10 inspections this year for those management plans. People are pretty responsive and have already gone out to manage some of their weeds this year, so it's nice to see.
Okay, Jade, have anything?
I do not.
Okay.
No,
Mhm.
okay, thank you.
Commissioner,
We're just working through budgets right now. Nothing not much money to go around. We're not sure what sort of grants and special monies are gonna be coming from from both DC and from Helen, from the state. So we're kind of feeling our way through a lot of this stuff.
when is the budget hearing?
Yeah, it's on May 28th
May 28th.
at 9 AM. I do have it listed on the agenda.
Those are open to the public and we encourage people to come. The 2 years before I was elected to the commission, I went to the budget meetings and sat through all of them. I was the only non-county employee that was at any of them. So I was a little bit amazed. I thought people would be more interested than they were. I had never been there before, so I guess I didn't have much room to complain, but I've always encouraged folks to come if they want to come to the budget meetings and get an idea of where your county money is being spent.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. So special districts, busy. As Commissioner Rolfe mentioned, budgets are big right now for public works for all departments. Those budgets are all due to finance May 15th, and then they'll be presented later in the month to the commission. So yeah, as Christian said, the weed budget, the special districts budgets will all be May 28th, starting at 9. So those will be helpful to come and have some representation there. Let's see, staffing, we were able to hire an RID construction coordinator and he started Monday. His name is Joe Himes. So he'll replace Caleb Marcus in overseeing all of the maintenance that happens in our rural improvement districts. So we're very excited about that. We still have one open position. It's a similar position, but it's split between the road department and the rural improvement district piece. So anybody with a little construction background that might be interested in that position, send them our way. Still actively trying to fill that. The legislature is over, which is times good. There were several bills that would have really negatively impacted special districts that were kind of there right until the end. So I'm happy that that's concluded and those seem to die. Some that would have really negatively impacted some of our funding. I know the weed district is funded from general fund, but a lot of those special districts that have different assessment methodology, those were really in the spotlight this time. So I think one of the big things that came out of that is that joint resolution to study all special districts throughout the state over the interim. So that will be, I think, impactful moving forward. Let's see, procurement is the other big one. As we do our budgeting, we are also always doing our procurement for our big projects for public works. So our crack seal work has been awarded. Our asphalt bids are out right now, and those will close soon. And then our chip seal, fog seal, and paint are the next ones to go out. So that'll come out soon, and then we'll start seeing that work happening throughout the county, which will be great. Through rural improvement districts, we have grading set up, so we get our new roster of graders. And then also our concrete patching and masking sealing is open right now as well. So a lot of work happening there, but soon it will shift to projects. That'll be exciting. Yeah, thank you.
Questions? For any of the staff? Okay, Andrew, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'd be happy
Sorry.
to take care. My name's Andrew Kretschmer. I work with the United States Department of Agriculture with the Natural Resource Conservation Service. I'm the district conservationist for the Helena Field Office. So Lewis and Clark County is my kind of operational boundary. I just kind of wanted to come to put a face to the agency and stuff. I don't think we've been to one of these meetings in a while. We see Christian at the Conservation District meeting occasionally. But I just wanted to come say hi. We like to make referrals for the management plan that you guys put together for the weed management plans, and sometimes the grants. So just figure I might stop by when I have the time to try and key into what you guys have going on as far as weed priorities, because we like to incorporate that with our programs, of course.
And we appreciate you coming in and providing input. I think it's good working relationship. So
Yeah,
anything that you need, let us know.
awesome.
I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Okay. Get back to the board member reports now.
Right,
Basic, clear.
Spring's upon us. I mean, the weeds are booming. I know it's just over here on the boulevard on Benton that white top is this tall already, and you guys are probably seeing it too. So like on that boulevard, is that something that you guys, that's city property, correct? But you guys are contracting with the city, or is that something you would handle?
I've sprayed some of the stuff that borders our, the boulevard that borders our property here, but yeah, that's city property there. A lot of times they come out and mow it for the most part, but other than that, we do have an MOU with the city, so we have started to go out there and take care of some of their smaller complaints, I would say, that they have, so.
So we're on McHugh also, where that boulevard is there, right up against the board fence, and that now it's probably this tall. I mean, this stuff is just blowing up, and I know you see it. But that's another area where that little gravel bed that's this wide, I don't know if that's the homeowner's responsibility, it's outside of their fence, is that city property? I mean,
That's a good question.
but it definitely is something that needs to be addressed by somebody, because I'm having to get this tall on those board fences, and I guess it's an irritation for me. I see it and I'm like, somebody needs to do something, Anyway, up in our area, in Judacan we're scheduling a spray day again in June, so hopefully we get a good turnout on that and then move forward with that. That was pretty productive last year. It was nice to get Kevin Sheridan down there, rope him into some of the BLM properties and say, hey, we got a problem up here. And Kevin and I went back later in the summer and made another spray, and hopefully, and speaking with him earlier this year, he said that he would definitely schedule some time to get into the Marysville and the quick area and but get some of the BLM property sprayed. So that's a good, again, they're kind of limited on resources, so we'll take whatever we can.
Yeah, I've talked to Kevin too, and just to let him know that if he needs help, we can come out there on certain days
Oh, that'd be great.
help them out.
And there's just so much of that BLM property that's been neglected for so many years, and it's bad, you know, I mean, it's just, it's kind of a mess, so. Anyway, other than that, me personally, I'm getting geared up or, starting to spray. Stuff's blooming, or not blooming, but popping, you know. That's all I have.
Thanks. Shelley, you have anything on the phone, on the Zoom call?
Well, so I know that last year we talked about this and it was just brought up, but like the city grounds, like schools and right of ways and neighborhoods and whatnot. I mean, there's a ton of white top coming back. Tis the season, so you're seeing it again. And I was just wondering if there's been any forward motion on making sure that the city was pushing that a little bit more.
I don't know what they're doing to push to get more weeds mitigated. I do know that we were able to get our MOU through them to help them out in some situations. But that's about as far as it went. It was just a partnership to spray. Cause we get a lot of complaints. We get a lot of complaints on them. So a lot of times we work on forwarding them to the correct person, and then that allows them to have the opportunity to call us back and be, can you please go take care of that for us? But other than that, they have, each department in the city manages their own vegetation in their own departments.
Okay, go ahead, Shelley.
No, that was all. I was also gonna wonder whether or not there's a strategic plan in terms of you were just talking about the BLM grounds, in terms of spraying adjacent areas and whatnot at the same time the BLM is, so that it all kind of gets done at once, or if there's been talk to do any of that, or if it's just kind of first come, first serve on what gets done.
Yeah, Kevin's usually sometimes on this meeting. He's not on today, so I guess I can't answer that, but I haven't seen any strategic plan. It's usually just him trying to come out and help when he has the time. I do know it's just him this year for his whole area.
Did he not get any summer help this year? Okay, the last I talked to him, that was still up in the air, but
Yeah.
their focus is not really any adjoining properties, it's just the BLM properties, and Kevin's covering from this area all the way down through Butte, clean into the Big Hole area. He's got a huge area that he's trying to, and I mean, we were fortunate enough to invite him up to Canyon Creek and let him see what some of the issues that we were dealing with. So that was a plus. I mean, he was able to go back and tell his folks that, we need to work, we need to spend some time up here. But it's unfortunate that he's out back alone.
Yeah, I used to work for the BLM, and even 30 plus years ago, it was like that. You had 2 weed sprayers, and they got to cover everything from Helena to Dillon. Basically, it was ridiculous. I was more wondering if the county was working with the BLM in terms of finding those places where we could work strategically together to get a little more bang for our buck, kind of thing.
I think that's pretty much what Stacy and Judith Ann and us have really sort of been trying to do out there in the Canyon Creek area. I've worked before with Lacey Decker, and we did have some funds to expend out on the scratch gravels, but they've sort of been short-staffed or not staffed on and off the whole 7 years I've been here. So I'm just glad that Kevin survived this last thing, that we at least have somebody in there right now. But It's just him. He does seem to be a very motivated individual and really wants to try to help us out. So hopefully as he gets more staffing and more acquainted to his area, working that, because this is only gonna be a second year, I believe, doing this, that we can keep building up a good relationship with Kevin and keep working on BLM grounds within Lewis and Clark County.
And he did let me know that he wasn't able to attend. He was gonna be out in the field, but he said he'll try to make next meeting, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
And it should be
again, I think we're missing what I'm trying to say. I'm not talking about getting BLM ground sprayed. I'm talking about getting like trailheads, areas that are very accessible within the county. Are we trying to work with him to identify those places so that the county can potentially help them out, so that we are helping ourselves out at the same time? That's what I mean when I talk about being strategic in where we're spraying. But maybe that's a bigger conversation that needs to be held offline.
Okay, so sort of like the Fish, Wildlife and Parks fishing access kind of working relationship with them, so. to include
Yeah.
those. Okay. Yeah, no, we haven't had that conversation with them. We certainly can.
Well, then you get into state property versus BLM property versus private property, and you guys don't handle any of that.
Just in the areas where our county
Where
road,
the county road goes.
meets, yeah.
But FWP stuff, I mean, that if it's a trailhead or parking area, then they are responsible for that. On state property. Anyway.
Okay. Well, we can have a conversation with them and see see if there's any possibility of doing something with them.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Shelley. Pete?
Not much on my end. Just reiterate what Shelley and Stacy have said about it. Looks like it's going to be a big white top year, but other than that, not much for me.
Okay, thank you. Judith Ann?
Oh, gosh. Okay, so June 5th is our spray day and we're gonna start around 7 o'clock in the morning and then we'll have dinner at 6 o'clock at night. If you guys are invited, anybody can come and help. We need all the help we can get. But I do think I haven't really talked to Stacy about this, but I think I have 7 trucks and 3 or 4 side-by-sides and some 4-wheelers. So I'm just gonna plan kind of like get with Stacy and make us a real plan, but it's basically gonna be as we did last year, and then we'll see. I did reach out to the concert, what is it, oh my God, the ones you were talking about, AmeriCorps, whatever that is. I did reach out to them. They are on a spray day that day, so they won't be there. I reached out to the Forest Service. I reached out to Fish, Wildlife and Parks, and I've reached out to, of course, Kevin. And he said he would be there in a quick email yesterday, which we kind of already knew. So that's kind of, that's the next big thing for us and to get that organized. And I think I'll probably will ask for 2 slide-ins from the county. Depending on how we work it all. I have in an email reached out to, I think, almost everybody and asked anybody if they need help, that we would be glad to help them that weekend, that day, on that Thursday, or see what we could work out for anybody who has property that they really need some help on, or so on and so forth. So that was kind of that. I guess the emails will follow and I'll just update everybody that way. I've started, I know Stacy's been busy in the weed department and so have I. I really haven't started spraying a whole lot, but I'm running around with a shovel in one hand and a rake in the other and driving my buggy along. doing whatever I'm doing, so it's, me and the bear are having a little problem. But, so far I'm winning, but he won last week. So I had put together a burn pile of weeds and limbs and twigs and yada, yada. And I, two deer and one elk killed on the property over the winter. And of course, there's body parts everywhere, and I'm throwing them into the burn pile and thinking, they've been eaten enough that they wouldn't want to be eaten anymore. Maybe the bear would ignore them. And then I did have a calf that was killed somehow. I do not know how, but the whole rear end of it was eaten out. The bear left that alone for about 3.5 weeks. Nothing touched it. Absolutely nothing. No coyotes, no birds, no nothing. And I thought, well, something must be wrong that they can smell. The bear can smell that something's wrong. So I put it on the bottom of the burn pile for next year. And I wrapped it all up with baling twine. I had some net wrap and I thought, oh, that's going to be really great. Wow. The bear tore the whole damn thing apart. So now I'm picking it back up. But he got the calf. So, and I hauled it across the creek and up the hill. So
Great.
that's that story. So, and I guess that's it.
Thank you. Monty?
Judith Ann and I were at the Master Gardeners meeting, 3 weeks ago, almost 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Interesting group, very different than the group that we get at the fairgrounds. More directed questions, a lot more interested in the information. Got rid of about half of the 50 handouts we had for the Japanese U, and it went statewide. We had people from all over the state at that meeting. Let's see, I've only seen one U in garden stores, and that wasn't a Japanese U, but it was a related species. So supposedly less toxic, but they're still toxic. I did have a question on the Weed Awareness Week. Are we reaching out to the television stations? They've got all these Twinkie reporters that can come out to one of the weed polls or two of the weed polls or three of the weed polls and, do an interview while you guys are actually working.
Yeah,
Who would we need to contact?
might contact Jasmine. They like to do that one we pull out at the old gun.
Early. Yeah,
shooting
rifle range.
Yeah.
How about one of the ones at Augusta? Is there?
I think the Sun River watershed, she's contacted them before. I think they did a,
That's on the 5th, the same day.
oh,
I think it's on the 5th of June.
24th.
24th.
Oh,
The
24th.
the 5th is the Ford
Fort
Creek.
Creek is,
Oh, okay, I got that confused.
I could contact State, I forget her, contact her, Sarah knows her.
Tracy,
She'll, pardon?
Tracy went.
Tracy, that's right.
How about the Jim Darcy Elementary School Day? We'd get some reporters out for that.
Yeah, we've had some for the East Helena Egg Days in the past. They've come out there and done that and interviewed the kids and some of them, yeah. They have done that one in the past.
So could you contact the TV station and say that, sure, give them our list of stuff that got listed and
Yeah.
tell them to come out and more than welcome to have them there.
Other than that, I started spraying my 2.5 acres this morning.
All right.
Did question about the gardening club, do they were they receptive to a lot of that stuff?
Very receptive. The Japanese U was, and then the posters that Judith Ann had made, the banners, that attracted a lot of people because they look so pretty. You know, and then, well, this is a pretty plant. I've got this growing in my garden. And then you tell them what else this plant is,
Yeah.
manages to accomplish in your garden. You know, toxicity levels and things like that.
Hmm.
But yeah, they were actually very receptive. So I was very
Yeah,
surprised.
it was very nice. And there, I think they had 5 people that signed up for that did not show up.
Hmm.
So it was and it was statewide. Yeah, I didn't realize that it was such a big deal, but, there were not, they were down in vendors by, I think, 6 from the year before. But, and to be honest, I think the conservation district and, us and oh my God, my brain. I want to say Violet, it's not Violet, it's what have you got in the office?
Orchids?
Orchid, thank you very much. People were, there. But there wasn't, Department of Ag was not there. For that, and they had 2 tables last year, and this year they weren't there at all. So,
Extension had a big presence.
right,
They had
extension office was there.
Native Species Society
Yeah,
and
native,
one other conservation group
right,
had a table each.
Native Plant
Native
Society,
Plant Society.
there you go, so that was good. So, can I add one thing? So, and then we also did the youth experience deal, which they were down by 12%. And it was not, of course, it was the day before Easter, so that probably had a big impact on it. But also they had, I don't know, quite a few vendors that did not show up. And the biggest one was the climbing rock or whatever, whoever was bringing that, didn't show up. And that was a big, they thought that was gonna be a big draw. Now, I don't know how many people knew the rock wasn't there or the rock was there, so I don't know how you figured that out. But they were down by 12%, not only in, attendance, but definitely down in, vendors. So that was that. So, and Alex, what do you, any input?
To add on the youth event.
Yeah.
No, I think it went well. It was definitely slower feeling. I didn't attend last year's. People are always interested in the weed trailer though. I think it's a good education
Yeah,
thing. So we're actually getting that for the Ag Days this year. For both Jim Darcy and the East Helena one. We're gonna have a auction weed trailer out there. I think it was a good event, lots of outdoor, not necessarily children being interested in weeds, but more parents being interested in it. I guess I forgot to mention, we also did the farmer's market last week. A little slow, I think just because it's the beginning, but it was just a nice resource to have for people walking by that had questions about weeds.
And Mr. Chair, I'd just like to add to that, what a great job Alex did with the display. And we did use one of the new tablecloths. I'll send a picture out to everyone just so they can see it. It looked very, very nice, and Alex did a great job with the display and information, and yeah, so at least we have that in presence too. So.
Okay. Real quick. So Senate Bill 167, they put the 10 million back in. And it's sitting on the governor's desk for signature. There's still some funky language in there about money coming back into the trust. It can't come back into the trust, but it can come into that pot, that 10 million that they're putting into it. It can grow that 10 million, just not the 10 million on the trust fund. So that's on the governor's desk. I'm sure he's gonna sign it. He had it in his budget to sign it, so it should be good, but he hasn't signed it as of today. There's 2 other bills that came in. One from the Senate, one from the House. And I don't know how they got them through because it was like the last week or week and a half before the session quit. But they changed the wildlife habitat improvement grants program. It took out, it used to be funded by Pittman Robertson money from Fish Wildlife, US Fish Wildlife Service. And the money that they get from ammunition sales stuff through Montana, but they switched it over to a state program. So there's supposed to be $2 million that's available each year for larger projects. Problem is that they also changed the committee, which used to have 2 weed district committee members and 1 weed control association member on it. They cut out the 2 county weed districts. So there's no more representation from county weed districts on that, which blows my mind. And then they added a Democrat and a Republican and a senator and a congressman. So House of Representatives, so I don't know how that's all gonna work. They also took they may put this back in, but they took out the ex officio committee. That was there for reference and education and knowledge about noxious weeds. They did away with that committee. The weed coordinator, state weed coordinator, is no longer on that committee. And hopefully they put that back in through rules, which they said they probably will do that. The governor still may veto those 2 because they're on his desk waiting to be signed as well. So I'm hoping that he kind of does veto it. I think it was pretty underhanded that they put it in so late. People didn't know about it until the day of the hearing, which a lot of people couldn't attend, myself included. So we'll see where that one goes. We'll see if he signs them or not. And then they're gonna do an interim study on the noxious weed law. And it's gonna include everything that's entailed in noxious weeds. So DNRC, State of Montana Highway Department, anybody that deals with the weed law that's mentioned in the weed law, they're gonna take a look at that to see exactly how it affects them. We're hoping that they're gonna put somebody on there from a weed district or Jasmine, the state weed coordinator, to have some guidance in it, which would make sense, but that sometimes doesn't happen. But hopefully we're gonna get a survey out to the counties, asking them what works with the weed district or with the weed law and what doesn't work with the weed law. So at least that gives them some kind of a starting point of knowing where to go and what to do, because to open up the weed law willy-nilly like that is, I don't know how they'll figure something out with that. It just blows my mind that they're doing it that way, but we will see what happens with it, and I'll keep you guys informed. But as of yet, none of the weed bills were signed. None of the legislation's been signed yet. And but it is on the governor's desk, so.
So now who is doing that? Is that the Department of Ag or is it the state of Montana
State of
or is the state of Montana?
Be the legislative division will do an interim study.
You know, keeping up with that stuff is not easy. I've tried. And
Yeah,
it's,
it's a mess. And then when they do something that's out of the blue and you don't know anything about it,
Right.
it just, it's not
well,
good.
it's not my brain train thought I don't do that well, but it is very confusing to try and
It
keep up with all that stuff. And figure out what this one's doing and what that one's doing and who's not doing what. I mean, it is just.
Yeah.
And unless you look at it about 2 or 3 times a day, you get lost.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how much that changed, so. But that's all I had too, so. So we can get into your discussions.
Yeah, we just left, Chair, we just left the utility trenches and soil reclamation on here from last meeting. To continue discussion if there's any additional. That helped, oh, sorry. We do. So a lot of these companies, TDS, Spectrum, they do have franchise agreements through us that they are supposed to, and I think Commissioner Rolfe has got some information on that too, and if you would like to talk on that, I could definitely let you.
And it's, you know, they do have some long-term responsibility, but I don't think they're tuned into what they've done when they've broken into the soil now and there's, whether they can move them to get anything done on it, I don't know.
Yeah, we do have some rules through MCA, Montana Code Annotated, to make sure that they are fulfilling and reseeding the disturbed ground that they have destroyed, but you know, we don't have a whole lot for them to like wash. We can make them probably wash when they get here, wash all their equipment, but you're not gonna get them to wash it every time they're moving it across the road, or, you know, we can make sure that the equipment's clean when it touches the ground here, but they're still gonna spread the noxious weeds we have in the right of way through our right of ways. So,
There's,
but there again, though, those are our right of ways, and who's responsible for managing the right of those that right of way? That's us, you know, but if they're going through utility easement on just public access road, that's gonna fall on the landowner to manage the weeds that are brought in to do that. They can still come in, they're still responsible for coming in and reseeding and fixing their mess.
anytime there's an easement, they've got the right to come in and get a utility.
Yeah, so, yeah, I don't know, I guess we have, yeah, it's a tough, utilities is a tough one. So,
And none of them are gonna be around long term, you know, they're gonna be here and.
yeah, we're dealing with the contractors. We're not
Yeah.
really actually dealing with Spectrum or TDS. They have subcontractors like Leadcore. That was the one that's been specifically discussed. They're the subcontractor to put that in, so they're here and out, so.
I talked with the Leadcore guys that were working in the ditch in front of my house, and they told me they actually have a landscape contractor that's supposed to come back when they're done and put the ditch back into shape,
Oh,
which will be interesting if they actually do it, because they managed to take the ditches and turn them into gullies.
yeah,
But it might be 2 years.
It could be 2 years, yeah.
yeah,
There's the money that's being spent is primarily under that ARPA Act, which it has to be completed before the end of 26. And I mean, there was so much money put into this thing. I don't know, the billions of dollars nationwide put into putting cable down, and with all these deadlines, it had to be committed by the end of 24 and completed by the end of 26. And there's
probably gonna be a lot of seeding next year
yeah,
or this fall.
or maybe just spilling over into 27, you know.
Yeah. So, we're pretty in tune to this. We're out there all the time doing this stuff to try to work and really stay on top of them. I know Dan Carlin, our county engineer, was at the utilities meeting. He goes there every Friday and told them that it would be wise for them to turn in a weed management plan for all the stuff that they have going in. So we haven't seen anything.
Good.
I haven't seen anything. So, might have to take come in on a Friday morning and go in there myself too and also be a part of that.
You're gonna have to harp on them.
Yeah,
Just keep after them because they're trying to, they're probably paid by how many feet of cable they bury. And that's the whole thing for them.
so. Okay, do we have any other questions on that?
Yeah, Christian, if you do talk to them, could you also talk to them about staging equipment on private land? That's just something I've noticed around my part of the valley.
Yeah, I'll reach out. I'll talk to Dan about that too. Yes, I will do that, Pete.
Thank you.
About the Lincoln Rodeo grounds.
So I went and talked to Dustin Noel, he's our shop manager, just to see if he knew of anybody and, Brad, was it Brad Hahn that retired? Yeah, he actually has been working up there and helps out with that rodeo. He's done it for years. So it was nice, Dusty was able to reach out to him and I got a name here, Denny Creature. He's sort of, he seems to be the overall rodeo manager and I was able to talk to him. Last year he said he had the Snow Warriors spray it. With them spraying that this year, after our last meeting, I talked to them that following week and I think they had a meeting. Right after, they had a rodeo meeting right after that, they were gonna actually reach out to a contractor out of Great Falls to maybe come in there do some drone spraying. So. I guess, he wasn't quite satisfied with the spraying that had commenced and was looking for alternative solutions to manage that. He said that hill doesn't look like it's very steep when you're driving by it on the highway, but when you're out there packing around a five-gallon backpack sprayer, it's not that fun. So, that's why they're looking at getting some drones and stuff. And then I was actually, talking to him too, that we can bring up one of our rental sprayers that they're more than welcome to use for a weekend if they need a sprayer, to use. And if there's anything else please let us know if there's any way that we can help them mitigate some of that stuff. So, yeah.
At least you got good contacts now. So-
Yeah.
But I would keep on them just to make sure.
Yeah, I'll reach out to him here just to see how that's all going and if he needs to,
It seems to me that you could park a truck with a long hose on there and you wouldn't have to be doing any backpacking. I mean, that's stupid. I mean, who woke up stupid this morning to do that?
I'm just, we're here to
just
help.
saying,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, you have.
I don't think the Ponderosa snowmowers that they haven't been doing any spraying for a lot of, these will all do it quick now.
So
Not all left there are done.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'll keep on them and just see where it goes.
See if they do a contractor with drones and. make sure-
Yeah, well, I'm probably would like to reach out to them again just to see if they were able to get a contractor to come out and spray that.
Yeah.
And if not, when are some dates that he would like us to bring up a trailer, sort of self-encouraging
Yeah,
here for him to do that. So, okay.
tell them we'll put a spray day together.
Okay.
You know, I mean, we'll do something to help them, but a 5-gallon backpack's not packing it. They'd be better off in the shop then.
So that's where we were on that one.
Okay.
Um,
County events.
County events in our packet, Jade, Alex and myself got all this information put together and on here, some of them are still to be announced, so we'll make sure to update this as we keep going through some of the July ones, spurge collection dates and spotted knapweed collection dates. So yeah.
Okay.
We do have, yeah, same with we don't know the Grizzly Gulch, the old shooting range weed pull, it's usually during that week, that's why I put that there, and then, the Dalmatian toad flag still up in the air.
Okay.
But we know usually within I don't want to say a week.
It's very last minute. Melissa normally sends out an email and within the next 2 weeks of the collection days, because they're doing last minute monitoring, just to make sure that the sites are flexible that year.
Chris, if we might go back to that utility trenches.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if maybe we shouldn't. Maybe this time next year, start making an inventory of any place that isn't. The more I think about this, they're gonna be wrapping that thing up and walking out of here on the 31st of December 26. And we need to start getting it on there. And we need to start hammering them. And if you'll remind me next year, I'd be happy to try and put some pressure on them to get it done. I mean, if they have to do it, they're supposed to do it, but it's gonna be a lot easier to get them get it done while they're still here. So if we could start, if you've got some places where it's been done, we can we can thank them for that. And if it hasn't been remediated, any place that hasn't been, let's start making an inventory and start hammering on them about a year from now.
Would this be something we could get intern to do? If we get an intern funded to go down and do survey?
I don't know if that would be appropriate for like for somebody that's trying to do work more or less for. I think we're out and about quite a bit. We could maybe put some of that on our weed sprayers just to see like areas that are really tore up.
Well, I guess if you guys have
Or complaint driven too and sort of inventory those.
days that you can't spray,
Yeah,
I mean, send them out and do a survey and then see.
yeah.
Mr. Chair and Commissioner, I believe also with that effort, those utility accesses have to go through a permitting process through the county engineer. So that before those are closed out, those are inspected also. The challenge is they're not getting closed out very often because it's seems to be almost like a 2-year process. There is a tracking mechanism through that permitting process. And then also a closeout process. So I think
So he'll have a list of all those.
exactly.
Well,
Yep.
maybe that's the
Right.
best way for us to
So you
do
could
it.
compile it that way if you wanted.
Okay, yeah, and Dan's the one that does those. correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Do we know how many contractors there are? Is that in the
Yeah, probably.
permitting process?
I think if I'm not mistaken, I believe there are 3 utility companies or fiber companies. I think there's is TDS, and I know that
Spectrum, right?
yeah, and then Lumen, I think is the
Yeah.
next one that took over for CenturyLink.
Yeah.
Anyway, so and the challenge is, when Dan attends the utility meetings, those fiber companies are there, but their subcontractors are not there. And that's part of the disconnect that we have. The utility companies are on board, right? They're the ones that have signed these franchise agreements and agree to put it back. But the subcontractors are the one that we need to get on site and work with directly. And so we've had some issues, not from maybe like a weed perspective, but certainly from a road damage perspective, through the RID program and through some other avenues we've had to follow up with a little bit more aggressively, I would say. And the other thing that we have, right, is that, and this is one of the things that we've done is not issue any further permits until some of these areas are cleaned up as far as ditch mitigation or putting some things back. So there is a little bit of an incentive, I think.
Do we have I mean, does the weed department or the weed part of it, do they have that same, could they not give permits? I mean, would you not give permits because the weed department said the weeds aren't taking, is that part of that action?
I think that that's something that we could potentially look at incorporating or combining. To my knowledge, they have to restore the site as it was prior. What we're running into that's challenging, right, especially from a weed perspective, is once it's disturbed, it's vulnerable. And if they're not going to remediate it for 2 years until they're done, then we have a bigger problem. And so that's something I think we need to work on addressing. If possible.
So there's something that we could still work on and get it.
I think there's potential there through that permitting process.
That would be good.
You know, that might not be a bad idea to sit down and do. Let's get Dan Carlin in and talk about this, and maybe he's got a thought already in mind about how to do it, but. I think that's where you got that, that's the best idea. I've been scratching my head how you gonna put anything to make it, put any power into it to get it done, and I think that's the best I've heard. I think that Jessica's got the right idea.
Yeah, there's no sense in reinventing the wheel if we already got some mechanism that's there to help us out anyway. I mean, makes it easier for everybody involved, so.
And I'm sure we'll do anything we can through the commission that if there's something needs to be done, but. And maybe we need to, through that permitting process, we've got an idea what's there and what's been done, and. I don't know that I've seen any place that's been remediated at this point.
Yeah. No. And I guess this is kind of one of the things that'll be looked at through that study through the interim committee will be exactly this kind of stuff. And it's always been a weak part of the law anyway, of the weed law. So if there's some way that we can get that a little bit stronger, I think that'd be the way to go too.
That'd be for the future.
Yeah.
I mean, this could turn into a real problem. It already is.
It is.
It already
Right.
is a real problem, and by having that inventory of sites,
Be perfect, actually.
Yeah.
At least we know what's
we
there.
could start talking about it
Yeah.
now,
Yeah, when legal reviews the franchise agreements and stuff like that, to make sure that they're implemented in that process too. But in our, I don't have this to all of you guys, but within our response and talking about this, it's MCA 7-22-2152. Revegetation of right-of-way in areas that have potential for noxious weed infestations. Any person or state agency proposing a mine or.
I was
major
just gonna
facility-
email that to the group and
Yeah, I can do that.
say, did they submit a plan before they started working?
But under the electrical communication, gas, liquid, trans line, it just discusses all those entities that are working within that, all the law, so, yep,
Would you,
I think you were in that.
yeah,
you were
make
in
sure
that.
I'm on the list and.
Yep,
And if you would do it, or I can, we'll get a hold of legal counsel for the county and through the county attorney's office and make sure we've got it. Where we've got the best teeth to make it, to enforce it.
Okay, good. The bylaws.
yeah, I was just wanted to make sure we're good to submit them. We had them all finished, they were accepted. And then we had to put them on a little bit of a pause, but I think we had got that all hammered out, so.
Okay.
If you guys are good on doing that, we just need to get yours.
And we've already approved it, so we just need the signature.
Yep, I was gonna get your guys' signature and put it on the BoCC agenda list to present it.
Okay.
And then other than that, just another reminder again for our budget meeting, May 28th at 9 AM. And I'm pretty sure it's at the BoCC chambers. Third floor, right?
Okay, got it on my, I'll be there for sure, I've got it on my calendar. If something comes up. Oh, I do have one other quick thing, I need some. You still have packets from what the county did last year? You know, or those,
Oh, a season, like our report?
Yeah.
Like our, yeah.
I gotta talk to a landowner group about it, the grub stake next Tuesday,
Okay.
Tuesday night.
Mhm.
Somebody put my name in.
You asked, I just.
I'm happy to do it.
Okay.
So they want me to talk 15-20 minutes on the new district,
Okay.
so if you guys can get that together for me and then any other maybe little handout.
Yeah, we have our little sheet of sort of all the, that we do at like HBIA of all the stuff that we're able to do, the cost share of the
And maybe a,
panels.
the. Jeez.
And let's
The area stuff,
Oh, yeah.
so they know what's going on.
Yeah.
That would work out good.
Okay, one more thing. I took my Easter vacation and took a drive through Birdseye in Austin the other day. And I went, oh my God, please give me strength. It's a mess. So I don't even know where to begin to start out in that neck of the woods if we were to start. And I'm sure if we went to Augusta, we'd find the same thing. And, you know, Lincoln's the same way, and, you know, it's everywhere. But are there any groups in the Birdseye area that anybody knows about that would, you know, that, I mean, besides the fire department? You know, and I think we could probably go to a fire meeting one night and see if they had any thoughts. And, but I don't know if anybody's ever reached out to any, I know I haven't, you know, I get stuck in my corner of the world up there, but do you know of anything? I mean, they don't have any snowmobilers or ATV groups or something like that.
Not specific to that area, you know, but I.
Yeah, so anyway, I've been racking my brains trying to think how we could begin to get somebody over there that would be just a little motivated to do something.
Okay.
So, any thoughts?
For like private landowners out in
Yeah.
Birdseye corridor.
I mean, Birdseye Road, but I mean, there
The
are
fire district is probably a pretty good place to start,
where?
the fire district, and Kyle, as the fire chief, is also a county employee that works in the disaster, he's the disaster coordinator.
Oh.
So he might be
And who's that?
Kyle Sturgill.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He's the DES coordinator for the county, but also the fire chief for Birdseye. So he may be a very good resource to start.
Well, anyway, there is just, and I'm sure those roads are all private roads. They're not.
A lot of them are maintained through a rural improvement district, which means they're public.
See.
Not all, but
Yeah.
at least,
I mean,
some of them are,
yeah.
yeah.
So.
I think I mentioned that a couple of meetings ago, that it would be nice if we had, everybody in their respective area had a project area and move on to different ones, you know, be the communications point for weed mitigation. I mean, we could just be there to offer assistance, you know? And Mike said it's something earlier about doing a biocontrol release, you know, and getting people involved, and I think part of it goes back to the education side. It would be in our best interest countywide to really try to promote that somewhat. And everybody take a lead in their area and say, hey, you know, visit with folks, neighbors, whatever, and and get some projects on. Bird's eye, yeah.
It's something, I mean, it's just crazy. And then I look at my own mess and I better say, you better stay home and fix up some of this. And quit running, telling the neighbors what to do.
Well, if you're taking a vacation to Bird's Eye, you better be,
It's a
we
long
better have you
ways.
It
get
was a
you some
big
help.
deal, and I went to the RV and had fish and chips. That was a big deal.
Okay.
It was a Saturday too.
Have you ever tried, maybe getting some of these 4-H clubs around to take on some of these? Is that something that some of them might be interested in?
There was, didn't you do that with the 4-H?
Well, and I do, and there's only a slight little problem because these kids are so young that it's, and I'm not saying all of them, I'm saying, but they're so diverse that to get the groups to get, I mean, the older kids, I think, but if you got younger kids and they got into chemicals, it's pretty scary.
But you could do a wheat pull day,
A weed
but yeah,
pull.
chemicals and,
Yeah.
and underage kids, but not a good plan.
I
And
think one of my buddies, is an old 4-H kid, and everywhere we go, he's looking at weeds and I'm sure that's where it got started for him. That's what made you think of it.
Mm-hmm. well, and for the Canyon Creek 4-H Club, and of course, I have not gone any further, but that Canyon Creek Stock 4-H Club, they have something going. 2 weekends a month practically, and they are doing something Katie's she's a master sergeant, should have been a master sergeant in the Army. Because those kids, and they mind, they just do it. And so, but,
There's 300 or 400 kids around the county that
yeah,
they're involved.
oh, I don't know, anyway, just a thought.
Any items for the next meeting? Anybody has any?
I do have some of the stuff that we've talked about added, like, reporters, well, we'll work on that, but Bird's Eye area, that kind of stuff, the staging on private. So
Okay.
some of those things are, you have listed on here.
Anything else from anybody? Okay, and I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion we adjourn.
We're adjourned.
Adjourn.
Thank you, guys.
We're done.
We can go, we do have, if anybody wants to stick around, we can go do a shop tour and greenhouse tour. Beautiful afternoon to go in our nice little sweat lodge.
And sauna.